The silent sabotage behind almost every failure. That is our topic today. Most people think failure is loud, a dramatic mistake, a big crash, a wrong decision that spirals out of control. But the truth is, failure is usually silent, it's subtle. It starts long before the world ever sees it. It begins in those quiet, invisible moments. When you delay one more day, doubt yourself just enough to hesitate, or shrink your goals just enough to stay safe. If you're someone who feels like you're trying, really trying, but nothing ever quite sticks, this isn't a coincidence, it's silent sabotage. And if you don't catch it, you'll keep running in circles for years without ever knowing why. Let's pull back the curtain on how it really works. At the core of almost every silent sabotage is one thing: self-protection. Not laziness, not stupidity, not a lack of ambition. It's your mind trying to protect you from some kind of perceived threat, even if that threat isn't real anymore. Maybe you grew up in a family where trying too hard meant you'd be mocked. Maybe you learned early that being visible, being successful, brought pressure you weren't ready for. Maybe somewhere along the way, you tried your best once, and it still wasn't enough. So now, years later, when you stand on the edge of something new, your mind pulls the emergency brake without even asking you. You get tired at the wrong moment, you get busy with things that don't actually matter. You suddenly second-guess an idea you were excited about yesterday. It feels like a coincidence. It feels like life just got hectic, but it's sabotage. Silent, automatic, protective. And the worst part? The smarter you are, the better you get at rationalizing it. You tell yourself it's not the right time. You tell yourself you just need more information. You tell yourself to act later would be smarter. And you believe it because it feels true in the moment. But if you can only zoom out, you'll notice a brutal pattern. You're always almost starting. You're always almost committing. You're always almost ready. Almost. And almost becomes your permanent address. Before we keep going, if this is already making you see a few things differently, tap the like button. And if you want more real, no-fluff videos like this, hit subscribe. Because the deeper you understand these invisible patterns, the faster you can break free from them. Let's get back into it. So how do you catch sabotage before it wins? It starts with understanding the early warning signs, the little patterns that don't seem dangerous at first, but are actually the first cracks in the foundation. Here's what to look for. First example. It is called Rationalized Delay. When you start giving yourself really smart-sounding reasons to wait, that's sabotage in disguise. It'll sound something like, I need to learn just a little more before starting. It's better to wait until things calm down. I'll feel more ready after I finish this other thing. But readiness is almost never the real issue. The fear isn't about starting badly, it's about starting visibly. It's about being seen in motion. It's about risking imperfection in public. And your mind, trained by old fears, would rather stay in planning mode forever than risk the exposure of action. Second example, called Shifting Goals Midway. Another sign is when you start moving the target after you've already begun. At first, you commit to writing the book. Then you decide maybe just a blog post would be smarter. Then you decide maybe you'll just research writing first. Then you decide maybe it's not the right season to write anything. From bold to safe in slow motion, from vision to maintenance mode without even realizing it. You think you're being strategic, but what's really happening is a quiet retreat, a silent surrender. Third example, unnecessary complexity. When you suddenly start overcomplicating something simple, that's sabotage trying to stall you. For example, you decide to launch a simple product. Then you convince yourself you need a full brand strategy first. Then a new website, then custom packaging, then a professional photographer. What started as a small bold move becomes a tangled web of fake requirements, and eventually, it dies under the weight of its own invented complexity. You call it preparation, but really it's avoidance. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're not weak. You're not incapable. You're just caught in a protection loop your mind built a long time ago. And the good news is, once you see it clearly, you're already halfway out of it. Because sabotage only works when it stays invisible. Once it's visible, once it's named, it loses most of its power. But visibility alone isn't enough. You can't just notice it and expect it to go away. You need a countermove. A way to break the cycle when it tries to tighten around you again. The simplest countermove to silent sabotage is this: choose speed over safety. Whenever you feel yourself hesitating, rationalizing, complicating, you have one mission: move quickly. Send the email before you overthink it. Launch the simple version before you polish it. Take the small action before your mind finishes talking you out of it. Speed doesn't mean being reckless. It means making the fear of exposure smaller than the fear of regret. You have to move while the window is still open, before the old wiring slams it shut again. Speed breaks loops. Speed bypasses sabotage. Speed builds new wiring. And every time you override the old pattern, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, you are training your brain to trust movement again. You're not just getting things done, you're literally rewiring your identity. From a hesitator to a mover, from almost to done, it doesn't take magic. It doesn't take superhuman discipline, it takes one small, fast, imperfect move at a time, that's it. And each time you do it, the voice of sabotage gets quieter. The pull of hesitation gets weaker. The horizon of what's possible gets wider. Quietly, steadily, permanently. Now let's step even further back. Why does silent sabotage even exist in the first place? Why would your own mind betray your goals? Because once, a long time ago, staying small kept you safe. When you were younger, smaller, less in control, risk might have meant real danger. Trying might have meant real shame. Visibility might have meant real rejection. And so, your mind, doing its best to protect you, built habits of delay, hesitation, withdrawal. It wasn't sabotage back then, it was survival. But here's the truth you need to hear clearly now. You're not that vulnerable person anymore. The dangers your brain is trying to protect you from aren't real in the same way anymore. The shame you're avoiding? You could survive it. The pressure you fear? You could handle it. The rejection you dread? You could outgrow it. The mind that built those habits was trying to protect someone who no longer needs protecting. You are stronger now, wiser now, more capable than the old wiring ever accounted for. And once you understand that, silent sabotage loses its teeth. It stops being an invisible master pulling your strings. It becomes just another outdated pattern you can thank and retire. With gratitude, not with war. The game isn't about fighting yourself harder. It's about recognizing when you're not actually under threat anymore. It's about realizing that the walls you keep running into aren't there to hurt you. They're just old guards who forgot to stand down. You don't need their protection anymore. You need your own permission. Permission to move even when it's imperfect. Permission to commit even when it's uncomfortable. Permission to rise even when the old fears whisper you shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, failure isn't the enemy. The real enemy is silence, delay, invisible surrender. And now you have the map to catch it before it steals another year of your life. You don't need to become a different person to win this battle. You just need to stop betraying the person you already are. Move while the window is open. Trust the motion, not the mood. Catch the whisper before it roars. That's how you break the loop. Quietly, powerfully, for good. And if you ever forget, just remember, motion defeats fear. Action dissolves sabotage. One small move at a time can rebuild an entire life. It always has. It always will. If this gave you something to think about, like the video so more people see it, And if you want more real, smart, no-fluff videos like this, hit subscribe, there's a lot more coming. The videos on this channel are for educational and entertainment purposes only. They do not constitute medical, financial, business, legal, or lifestyle advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making changes to your health, finances, legal situation, or personal routines. Always do your own research before making monetization decisions. The views expressed are based on publicly available research and emerging technologies at the time of publication, and may change over time.